Judge,
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Long, and we are going to commence with our expedited accusation calendar. This is with the State Court of Fulton County. It's a list of misdemeanor criminal cases in which individuals have been recently arrested on an outstanding warrant. The individuals were brought to the Fulton County Jail. Soon after that, the prosecutor, which is the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County, has already accused these cases. So this would be the defendant's first appearance before a judicial officer. When I call your cases up individually, I will let you know what is the accusation number in your case, what are the charges brought against you, who is going to be your counsel, either appointed or if you retain counsel, as well as to set a bond if one has not been previously set, or consider bond modification. Please keep in mind that if you are a defendant so accused of a criminal misdemeanor offense, that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say in open court or through this virtual recorded live stream proceedings, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney if you cannot afford one. One of our attorneys from the Public Defender's Office or the Conflict Defense List will represent you. Ms. Lucia, good afternoon. Which case do you have?
Excuse me, Your Honor, can I give you the reset date?
Oh, yes, please. Go ahead.
It's going to be May the 11th.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. I'm sorry, Ms. Lucia, you were saying?
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. I believe I'm in position 1, Ms. Vanessa Diaz Garcia.
Okay. And does anybody need to go into a breakout to speak with this person?
Actually, I was able to interview my client. It's just that she is only 18 years old and 11th grade in high school. So her parents have to co-sign, and her parents need a translator.
All right. Deputy, I'm going to go ahead and take the person up in this chair right now, but if we can make the next person Vanessa Diaz Garcia, that would be helpful. Thank you. All right. Who do we have in the seat?
Good afternoon, Judge Law. I do have a quick announcement. For position 9, it needs an interpreter. They are not able to hear, like a sign language interpreter.
All right. The likelihood of getting one, I'm not sure is very good. So we'll see what we can get before the end of the calendar.
I do know, there's a way, Judge Law, that we can click on the bottom of the computer where it can read.
The live captioning?
Yeah.
All right. Who's hosting?
I think Mr. Jordan is hosting. There he is.
Mr. Jordan, I guess when we address position 9, we need the live captioning on. Okay, but who do we have in the seat right now?
Hold on. I got it. This is going to be position 11, Mr. Wright, and he also has a visitor that would like to speak on his behalf as well.
Okay, so let me just address this case first. This is case number 23 CR 002582J. State versus Kavellon Uneki Wright, WRIGHT. Mr. Wright has been accused of simple battery, 2 counts of simple assault, and criminal trespass causing damage to property from April 26, 2023 incident. Mr. Wright, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod. Is that, or who's your counsel? Ms. Kim?
That's Ms. McLeod. He's a conflict.
McLeod is right there.
McLeod.
All right, sorry, Ms. McLeod. Yes, good morning, good afternoon. Love your backdrop. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so free trial. Who do we have?
26 total.
26.
He got open case for like DUI, no proof of insurance. He got a couple of open DUIs.
May I have in which jurisdiction?
DeKalb.
Yeah. Any prior DV matters?
2020 DV, simple battery DV obstruction. Arrest, 2018 probation, 2014 reckless conduct, conviction. Check the chat on that reckless conduct.
All right.
That's it. 2020 probation, but he just got all these open driving related cases.
All right, thank you. Mr. Young, what's the state's recommendation for these 4 charges?
The state's recommendation on these four charges are a $4,000 surety bond, $1,000 on each case. Stay away from 6493 Snowden Drive in Atlanta. A note for the contact with the victims, Alexis Watson, Jay Porcher Jr., Jay Riser, and Tamika Jones. And briefly, on April 26, 2023, at the incident location, law enforcement responded to a dispute. Upon arrival and speaking with Ms. Jones, she stated that the accused showed up to this location intoxicated and began taunting her children by entering their rooms and screaming at them. She had advised law enforcement that they are not in a relationship, and she did not want him arrested, only removed from the location. However, our victim actor was able to speak with Ms. Jones, who advised that the defendant is actually her fiance. They have been together for a number of years. The other victim, Ms. Watson, she advised that she was contacted by her brothers, the other two victims in this case, that the accused was chasing them around. When she returned home, she observed the accused chasing them around the front yard, screaming and yelling. Everyone at the residence attempted to keep the accused out, but he forced his way in, damaging the door and entering a bedroom where he struck Ms. Watson in the face.
All right, thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 40 years old. He is a lifelong resident of the state of Georgia and the Metro Atlanta area. He denies that he struck anyone, Your Honor. He does tell me that he and Miss Jones are engaged to be married. He also tells me that he does not really live at that location, although he visits frequently. So he does have some belongings there. We would be asking for a one-time police escort so he can go back there to retrieve his belongings, Your Honor. And he is employed, Your Honor, but he really doesn't make a lot of money. So if the court would consider reducing his bond, say maybe to $500 per charge, that would be very helpful considering his circumstances.
All right, thank you. Jeffrey Francois, you said somebody wanted to say something in the gallery. Who is that person?
Yes, hold on 1 second.
And Attorney Noah Pines, who is your client? Did he fall off?
Hey, good afternoon, Your Honor.
Okay. Yes, sir.
It's Monty Hewitt, Hewett.
Okay, position 3. All right. See if we can get him up there after the interpreter case.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, if I may, real quick, I failed to advise the court to call for any victims that may be on Zoom or in the courtroom. There is one, I believe, is Tamika Jones, who may be present. And I'm not sure if Alexis Watson is. The other two are juveniles, so I don't expect them to be here.
Okay, thank you.
I'm here.
All right, thank you, Ms. Watson. Good afternoon. I'm addressing the person at the Fulton County Jail in courtroom 2. May I ask your name?
Tamika Jones.
All right, and Ms. Jones, if you'd like to say something, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly, other right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the information you provide will be the proof to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. What would you like to tell me?
Whatever you all just said is not true. I have a ring on my phone in the car. They won't let me bring it in to show. He did not. My other 2 kids, I don't know how their name got on there because he did not touch now one of us. He did try to come in the room to get his keys and his phone. Me and my daughter was on the other side of the door. He was on the other side of the door. He pushed the door to try to get in. I'm coming to let you all know he stays there. Me and him stays there and my 2 kids. My daughter, she has a room there. She was staying at her boyfriend's house or my mom's house. He did not put his hand on there. Why would I let a man touch my kids?
All right, thank you, Ms. Jones. You may return to the gallery. Thank you. All right, Ms. Alexis Watson, if you'd like to contribute, you need to start your video and your audio.
Okay. I'm right here.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right. All right, you've heard from defense counsel, the prosecutor, from Mr. Mika Jones. What would you like to tell me?
When the young lady called me this morning, I never told her that he put his hand on my siblings. I never told her that. Only thing I told her was he put his hand around my neck, but he did not choke me at all.
All right.
That's what I stated to her. And I told her that I don't wish to press charges on him because he's not a bad person.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
On the simple battery is going to be 1,000. On the simple assault is going to be 250 each. And on the criminal trespass causing damage to door is going to be 500. The total bond is going to be 2,000. It's going to be a surety bond. Stay away from 6493 Snowden Drive in South Fulton. He may return to that location one time only with a police officer to retrieve his personal belongings. Once he's released from the Fulton County Jail, he must update the court with his new address as well as his phone number and email. He is to have no further contact with Alexis Watson, no further contact with Gervais Portia Jr., no further contact with Jonta Rosser. He should stay 200 yards away from these three individuals and not communicate with them in person, through a third party, through a phone, a computer, or even on social media. He may have no further violent contact with Ms. Tamika Jones. So if he intends to have communication and contact with Ms. Jones, he cannot come to the Snowden Drive location. He must go elsewhere, but stay 200 yards away from the Snowden Drive location. He is to abstain from all alcoholic beverages, no illegal drugs, and he's not to possess or own any firearms. So if he owns any weapons and firearms presently, he's to surrender them to the local police authority to be purged. His next court date is going to be May 11th. At 9 a.m. in courtroom G33. Any questions, Mr. McCown?
No, Your Honor, no question.
Thank you. Next case, please. Next case, please.
Position 1, Ms. Diaz.
Ms. Lucia, if you please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the information you translate will be a true and accurate translation with no changes or embellishments?
I do.
This is State versus Vanessa Diaz Garcia, case number 23 CR 002572G.
Este va a ser el caso de Vanessa Díaz García, el caso número 23 CR 002572G.
Ms. Diaz Garcia, my name is Jessie Lal, and this is a criminal case involving 2 charges against you.
Señora Díaz, mi nombre es juez Jessie Law y este es un calendario con 2 acusaciones, 2 casos en contra suyas.
They are simple battery and criminal trespass causing damage to property from April 26, 2023.
Los cuales son violencia simple y traspaso criminal y causar daños a la propiedad ajena.
You have a right to remain silent about the facts of the case. Anything you say, your statements can and will be used against you.
Tiene el derecho a permanecer en silencio. Si cualquier cosa que usted diga será usada y puede ser y será usada en contra suya.
You have a right to an attorney, and representing you this afternoon is Ms. Kim with the Public Defender's Office.
Tiene el derecho a un abogado. Esta tarde le está representando a usted de la Oficina de Defensores Públicos, la señora Kim.
Mr. Howard, how many priors does she have, if any?
Well, she's 18. This is her 4th arrest. She has an open case in state court. Possession of a pistol revolver by person under 18 years, loading and filing. 23 CR 000227A. She had a 2022 arrest out of Brookhaven for battery, and that appears to be open. So, of course, she's not recommended, but yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Falk, good afternoon. What's the recommendation of the state?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. The state's.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
We forgot to translate Mr. Howard's.
My apologies.
No, my bad. I forgot to.
Okay. Entonces, la juez pide los antecedentes, o si ha habido arrestos, historial criminal. Entonces, el reporte es que este es el cuarto arresto. El primer arresto es un caso que todavía está abierto. El caso es el 23CR00227A, que es tener una pistola, un revólver. El caso anterior es en el 2022, el cual fue en Brookhaven, el cual también continúa abierto también por violencia leve. Go ahead, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ms. Falk, the state's recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. I first want to start by saying on that 23 CR case, Ms. Garcia received an $11,000 surety bond on January 13th of 2023.
Okay.
Lo primero que quiero decir es que en ese caso del 23CR, la señora García recibió una fianza de $11,000, confirma nada, perdón, no confirma, sino asegurado. $11,000, fianza asegurada el 13 de enero del 2023.
And that order was signed by Judge Mincy.
Y esa orden fue firmada en ese entonces por el juez Lindsay.
Are the two individuals in that bond order related to the defendant?
Your Honor, I do not believe so.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thank you. And what is your recommendation for this case?
Okay, so on this case, due to our concerns about the defendant reoffending so soon after her last offense.
Go ahead, Ms. Lucia.
Está hablando la fiscalía. Ahora la jueza ha pedido que que la fiscalía le dé la recomendación. Entonces, debido estamos bastante preocupados debido a la reofensa tan cerca de la última ofensa anterior en enero.
As well as our concerns about the violence that was used in her previous arrest for violence in Brookhaven.
También tenemos preocupación por el grado de violencia usado en el arresto anterior en Brookhaven.
The state is recommending a $4,000 surety bond.
El Estado está recomendando una fianza de $4,000 asegurados.
Which is $3,000 on the battery and $1,000 on the criminal trespass.
Lo cual se divide en $3,000 en el cargo de violencia y $1,000 en el cargo de traspaso.
We are asking for no further contact with Ms. Cynthia Contreras.
Estamos pidiendo que no haya ningún contacto futuro con Cynthia Contreras.
We understand that the defendant in this case is 18 years of age, and that Ms. Contreras is her mother.
Entendemos que la acusada aquí tiene 18 años de edad y que la señora Cynthia Contreras es la mamá.
However, she began pulling her mother's hair and slapping her mother in the head and the face during this incident, which was witnessed by Ms. Contreras's mother.
Ella fue observada jalándole el pelo y golpeándola en este incidente, el cual fue observado por la mamá de la señora Contreras.
So we would ask that the defendant, if possible, stay at an alternative residence until this is resolved.
Entonces estamos pidiendo que la acusada, si es que es posible, vaya a una residencia alternativa. A otra residencia, si es que es posible, hasta que este caso sea resuelto.
We would also recommend that she stay away from 2572 Lenox Road, apartment H1.
También recomendamos que se permanezca alejada del 2572 Lenox Road, departamento H2.
and that she have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
que no use bebidas alcohólicas, drogas o no posea armas.
And we are also asking for 1-day anger awareness, as this incident not only resulted in the striking of her mother, but her breaking glass candles inside of the home and throwing them on the ground.
Y también un día de un curso, una clase de manejo de la ira, ya que esto ocasionó que le pegara a la mamá y que rompiera varias velas de vidrio dentro de la casa.
We would like to sound for Mrs. Contreras so that she may be permitted to speak if she would like to.
En este momento queremos llamar a todas las damas y caballeros presentes. Si la señora Contreras se encuentra presente, si puede, por favor, decir algo, si quiere testificar.
Nothing further from the state.
Eso es todo del Estado. And Your Honor, the interpreter did sound off for Ms. Contreras.
Right, could you sound up for Miss Cynthia Contreras or Miss Nora Contreras, either one?
La señora Cintia Contreras o la señora Nora Contreras. Si se encuentra dentro de esta llamada, por favor, hágase presente.
Miss Falk, the prior case from January also required her to stay away from 2572 Lenox Way.
That is correct.
Does she live there? Do you know? Okay, never mind. Miss Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Vanessa Diaz Garcia actually reside at 3200 Lenox Road, apartment number C102. It is 1.4 miles away from 2572, which is 2,464 yards. So my client is willing to stay away from 2572 Lenox Road, 200 yards away. Only thing that I would like to ask Miss Lucia, Mrs. Olivia Garcia, who is going to be our co-signer for Miss Diaz Garcia, is actually on the speakerphone. I texted her the Zoom link. Would you please tell her that she can log into the Zoom link that I sent to her in Spanish? So that way, hopefully she can log in and show up.
Señora Olivia García, ¿me puede escuchar?
Sí.
Ok. ¿Recibió usted un enlace por correo, por texto para entrar a una reunión por Zoom?
Como yo estoy trabajando y solo agarré la llamada para ver quién era.
I'm at work right now and I just picked up the call to see who it was.
All right.
Okay, can she come to the Zoom, hopefully?
¿Puede usted ingresar a la llamada del Zoom?
¿Cómo?
Your Honor, a little latitude, please. Miss Kim, did you text or email the link?
Text.
Señora García, ¿recibió usted un enlace por texto de la abogada Kim? ¿Recibió eso? Fíjese en sus textos.
No. Como yo no he visto mi teléfono, como yo estoy ahorita trabajando, solo agarré esta llamada para saber quién era.
Ok, fíjese en sus textos, señora. I asked her if she has received your text. She said that she had not looked because she was at work. So I asked her to please take a look and see if she has it so that she can join us via Zoom. ¿Ya lo vio, señora García? ¿Encontró el texto?
Bueno.
Sí, ¿encontró el texto?
Como estoy un poco ocupada, no tengo ahorita tiempo para ver, nada más quería ver.
Sí.
No vi.
I have not looked at it. I have not seen it because I'm at work and I'm busy and I can't.
Okay, let's pause that right now. Miss Kim, who is this person?
This is a mother of my client, Vanessa Diaz Garcia, and she is willing to co-sign for my client, who is 18 years old, and she is eager to go back to school instead of being in the jail. She is very scared of being in jail. She wants to go back. She completed up to 11th grade and she has only 1 year left. And she is strongly motivated to go back to school, Your Honor.
What's the mother's full name?
Olivia Garcia,
Okay.
Olivia.
Do you want to interpret that part, Ms.?
I will start since the beginning of Ms. Kim's testimony. I'm sorry, what she said. La señorita Díaz García vive actualmente en el 3200 de Lenox Road en el departamento C102, el cual es 1.4 millas, lo cual es más de 200 yardas lejos de la dirección del 2572. Entonces ella está dispuesta y puede mantenerse alejada de esa dirección. La señorita Díaz García terminó su onceavo grado y quiere ir a la escuela en vez de permanecer en la cárcel. Y la mamá, la señora Olivia García, va a firmar la fianza como representante de ella.
Anything else to add, Ms. Kim?
Well, that's it, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes.
My apologies. There was some confusion on my part. Ms. Contreras was the ex-best friend of the defendant. Her name is Cynthia Contreras in this case. I will say that the no further contact involved a co-defendant, Cynthia Teresa. So I'm not sure if they are the same person or not. But they both, the previous incident was at Lenox Road, a different apartment than this incident at this apartment.
All right, understood. Thank you.
Y hubo una corrección del estado donde dice que la señora Cintia Contreras no es obviamente la mamá de la señora Díaz, de la señorita Díaz, y que en este caso hay una orden de que se mantenga lejos de alguien que se llama Cintia Teresa. No saben si es la misma persona.
No, Cintia Teresa no es la mamá.
No, Ms. Kim, can you mute?
Es amiga de Vanessa, yo soy la mamá.
Yes, I muted.
All right. Just to make a note that that the accusation number for this case has been amended so that it is reading as 2572A. Both cases will be assigned to Judge Roth Division.
Este es un caso, hemos cambiado el número de los casos. Los dos casos van a ser 2572A y los dos serán enviados al tribunal, a la corte del juez Roth.
On the simple battery, the bond is going to be set at 3,000. That's going to be a surety bond.
La fianza para el cargo inicial, el primero que es la violencia, va a ser $3,000 asegurados.
Criminal trespass or damage is 500.
La fianza de $500 para el traspaso criminal.
That's a 3,500 surety or good bond.
Eso es una fianza asegurada de $3,500.
Next court date will be May 11 at 9 a.m.
La siguiente fecha del tribunal va a ser el 11 de mayo a las 9 de la mañana.
If Ms. Diaz Garcia makes bond, then she will receive a new court date.
Si es que la señora Díaz García paga la fianza, va a recibir una nueva fecha para que regrese a la corte.
She is to stay away from all the apartments at 2572 Lenox Way in Atlanta, Georgia.
La orden judicial es que se permanezca lejos de todos los departamentos en el 2572 Lenox Way en Atlanta, Georgia.
She's to have no contact with Cynthia Contreras and Nora Contreras.
La orden es que no tenga nada de contacto con Cynthia Contreras o Nora Contreras.
Stay 200 yards away from them, not communicate with them in any way, form, or manner.
Que permanezca por lo menos 200 yardas lejos, separados de ellas, y no se comunique de ninguna forma, por ningún motivo.
You're not to consume any alcohol, no illegal drugs, and not possess any firearms or weapons.
No puede consumir ninguna bebida alcohólica, ninguna droga o estupefaciente ilegal y no poseer, no poseer ningún arma.
If you violate any of the conditions of this bond, it will be revoked to a no bond status.
Si es que usted no hace caso a alguna de las condiciones de esta fianza, entonces vamos a quitar la fianza y será nuevamente considerada como sin fianza.
And this will be
Sin
until,
fianza.
and this will be until further order of the court.
Y eso será hasta nueva orden del tribunal.
You have an open case in Brookhaven alleging violence. You have an open case in January of this year involving a firearm. And now you have an open case involving violence just almost a couple months later.
Tiene usted un caso abierto de violencia. Tiene usted un caso abierto de hace un par de meses que tiene que ver con un arma de fuego. Y tiene este nuevo caso de violencia que también está abierto, todos en un transcurso de tiempo bastante corto.
Any future violations of the law will require you to be equipped with an ankle monitor.
Cualquier violación de la ley futura de hoy en adelante va a ser requerida tener un monitor del tobillo.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next case, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Will that be all for my services?
I believe so. Thank you very much, Ms. Lucia.
May I be excused? Thank you. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
This is position 10.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Saluki.
This is Khadija Charlene Suluki. Could we get Mr. Pine's client also? I think it was Mr. Hewitt. After this. Suluki, Ms. Suluki is case number 23 CR 0025818. Ms. Suluki has been accused of terroristic threats and acts in a pretty novel way on April 26, 2023. Ms. Suluki, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. McLeod. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2014 shoplifting, not guilty.
All right, thank you. Mr. Young, what's the recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, the state's recommendation in this case is a $3,000 surety bond. Stay away from 7355 Toccoa Circle in Union City. Yes, ma'am, in Union City. No further contact with the victim, Ms. James. 1 day anger awareness, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while on bond. But just briefly, law enforcement responded to the incident location on April 26th in reference to a terroristic threats call. Upon arrival, they spoke with the victim, Ms. Deja James, who stated that the accused messaged her first on Facebook, threatening to, quote, to beat her ass. The accused subsequently showed up at the address with another unknown person demanding that Ms. James come outside. Ms. James did not go outside, but the accused messaged her and sent her a picture of her home while she was present there. Law enforcement were able to observe the screenshots from Facebook. While law enforcement were on scene, the accused messaged Ms. James and advised her that she would be returning to her home.
Okay. Ms. McClellan, what's your recommendation?
My recommendation is a signature bond, Your Honor. My client is 27 years old. She is the mother of a 5-year-old little girl who lives with her. She denies the allegations, Your Honor. What she tells me is that the alleged victim has been bullying her for some time on social media. They actually went to the same high school. So they have known each other for a very, very long time, and has been disparaging her and saying things about her and her daughter. And after the alleged victim had made some threats of her own against her, and my client responded. As Pichal has said, my client has no criminal history at all, Your Honor. She had one charge which she was found not guilty of. She is, as I said, working. She's a college student at the moment studying business administration. She doesn't need to have any further contact with the alleged victim, Your Honor. So I would ask the court to give her a signature bond so she can get out of jail, get back to work, and to take care of her 5-year-old. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Bond set at 3. Yes.
And Your Honor, just briefly, If we could ask the court to call for Miss Deja James. I don't see her on the Zoom, but just in case she is on the Zoom or in another center.
Yeah, Daja James, D-A-J-A-H James. All right. Bond is set at 3,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. No further contact with Daja James to stay 500 yards away from 7355 Toccoa, that's T-O-C-C-O-A Circle in Union City. No consumption of illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no possession of any weapons or firearms. Ms. Suluki, you will have to stay 500 yards away from this location and not communicate with Ms. James, either via in person, through a third party, through a phone, a computer, or even on social media. And if you attempt to respond to Ms. James on social media, as this case seems to be littered with all that, please be mindful that we can have your bond revoked and you remain in jail in a no bond status. Your next court date will be sent to you at your current address. And let me see. Yeah, I believe that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Saluki, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say can and will be used against you.
Is this related to your bond, Ms. Saluki?
No, I just had a question about something else, but it's okay.
All right.
You can give me a call and I'd be happy to answer your question.
Okay.
Ms. Luki, you have to report to pretrial once a month, every month. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Position 3, Mr. Hewitt.
Thank you. We have State versus Monty Joe Hewitt, 23 CR 002574E. Mr. Hewitt, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Mr. Noah Pines. He's accused of 1 count of battery, family violence. Mr. Howard, any priors?
Yes. Third arrest, 2023, transporting an open container / possessing of marijuana. That was dismissed. And before that was a 91 DUI.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Falk, what's the recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. The recommendation on this case, due to the nature of violence that was used, is going to be a $4,000 surety bond. We have had an opportunity to speak with Miss Stephanie Linneth, who, Stephanie Mejia, who stated that she did live with this defendant at the address 336 Stonemont Drive Northwest, that she will be moving in with her mother. However, she has not moved out of the Stonemont Drive address yet. She stated that she has been with the defendant since December of 2022. She stated that they do have a domestic violence history. She has called the police before and they have come to the house once before, but the defendant told her to tell the officer that she was fine, and they left without doing a report. She stated she concurred with the report that stated that on this date, she had an argument with the defendant that escalated into him physically assaulting her. She stated that he threw a chessboard and a shot glass at her, threw a candle at her and slapped her multiple times, punched her in the face and body, and kicked her. Ms. Mejia did sustain scratches and bruises to her face and body. She stated she was unable to call for help because the defendant deleted everything from her phone, and that she was able to leave because her family came to check on her. And while her family was knocking at the door, the defendant was refusing to let her go and speak with them. She stated her family heard her screaming, "Let me out." And at that point, her sister called the police. She said she is afraid of the defendant. She's in the process of filing a TPO, and that she wants no contact and for the defendant to stay away from her mother's house, which I will put into the chat to the litigation manager for the purposes of the bond order. We are again asking for that $4,000 surety bond due to the nature of violence that was used here, the fact that he essentially imprisoned her within the house. We are also asking for 1-day anger awareness and no further contact with Stephanie Mejia, as well as a stay away from 336 Stonemont Drive, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. We would like to set a date, and I do want to reach out to Ms. Mejia. I believe she may be here on the Zoom to find out what time frame she thinks she can be out of the Stonemont residence, and at which point the defendant can take residency back at that location.
Stephanie Mejia. Stephanie Mejia. All right. Mr. Pines?
Your Honor, my client's 62. As you heard, he has no significant criminal history. He lives and owns that address. Ms. Mejia has no ties there other than she was his guest. If she is so afraid and scared of my client, she could obviously leave the premises to basically tell my client he can't go back to his own house because a guest of his refuses to leave. Just doesn't seem like a fair resolution to a bond. We've got no problem with a no contact bond, but he needs to go back to his residence. So she would have to vacate the residence, obviously. And I know my client has asked her to vacate the residence. We obviously deny all the allegations that were given.
Excuse me.
Ms. Reyna, please hold. Yes, sorry about that, Mr. Pines. Yes, please continue.
Yeah, we deny the allegations that are mentioned by the state. We actually have proof that the alleged victim has been violent in the past and has made terroristic threats or threats to other people in my client's life. And my client's a lifelong resident of Atlanta, business owner. So we would ask, Your Honor, that you issue a $2,000 bond, that my client be allowed to return to his residence at 336 Stonemont Drive within 24 hours of his release. We will give the alleged victim 24 hours from his release to get out, but he should be able to go back there within 24 hours of his release from jail, which, as you know, will probably be about 12 hours from now anyway. So that gives her 36 hours total to get out of his residence. And I think that was all the conditions that we talked about.
All right, thank you. We were trying to sound out for Stephanie Mejia. Is that you?
Well, I'm her mother. She doesn't want to be in the call.
Okay.
Really. She's out of that property.
Could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Does Stephanie Mejia still live at the Stonemont Drive location?
No, ma'am.
Has she vacated the premises?
The same day, yes, she did.
Does she have anything else left at the house?
The only thing that we couldn't find that day, the police was trying to stay a little bit longer to take out, was her purse. That was never found. The purse with her social security number, her ID, and her money, credit card. She couldn't find it.
All right. Would you need, I can give you up to 72 hours more to look for it, or are you planning to go back?
We don't plan to go back to the property at all.
All right, thank you. Bond is set at $4,000. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Stephanie Mejia. He may return to the 336 Stonemont Drive, Atlanta location. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. If he owns any firearms, they must be surrendered to the local authorities for destruction. Just 1 second, please. And Ms. Bridgewater, I gather Ms. Falk may have sent you another address, so he'll need to stay away from that address as well. His next court date is going to be May 11th. If he makes bond, then we will send in notice of a new court date. The May 11th date won't hold if he makes bond. Mr. Pines, go ahead and file an entry of appearance.
I already have, Your Honor.
Excellent. And that concludes the matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next case, please.
Position 7, Phillips.
Okay, Ms. Kim needs to be in a breakout room with position 9, Mr. Stinson. Is this Miss yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Jordan, is this something you could arrange? I don't know how it's going to be arranged with Stinson. Ms. Kim, I'm going to let Mr. Jordan figure out how to arrange that if Mr. Stinson's in the courtroom and you want to have a breakout with him, okay? All right, position number, I'm sorry, this is position 6?
This is position 7, Phillips.
Okay, this is position 2 over there as well, LaVille Garrett?
Yes.
Okay, may he come forward and stand behind Mr. Phillips? Thank you. This is State versus Laville Lafayette Garrett, position number 2, who the gentleman who is standing up, 23 CR 002573B, accused of criminal trespass at an apartment at the West Side Future Funds location. Position number 7 is regarding the gentleman who is seated, case number 23 CR 002578H. One of these cases need to be assigned to the same division. And this is State versus Octavius Phillips, also accused of criminal trespass at the same location. Incident date is alleged to be April 26, 2023. Mr. Garrett is represented by Ms. Wills. Would that be correct, Ms. Wills? Okay. And Mr. Phillips is represented by Ms. McLeod.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Howard and both gentlemen have been advised of their right to remain silent. Mr. Howard, any priors to Mr. Garrett?
Garrett, 10 total. He got a open shoplifting, 2010 burglary, possession of tools for the commission of a crime conviction. His other arrests were dismissed.
And Mr. Phillips?
Phillips, 18 total on probation for armed robbery. It should time out next month based on the time. May 2013, they gave him 10 years probation. 2023 probation violation, 2021 failure to appear, 2011 sale of marijuana, possession of a knife, firearm during the commission, and the armed robbery. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Young, do you have both cases?
No, Your Honor, I have Mr. Phillips.
All right, and what's your recommendation for Mr. Phillips?
My understanding that this case was going to be a plea. The
That
state's
was my understanding as well.
I wasn't informed. So have the plea paperwork been sent in to both gentlemen?
Yes, only actually for one. It was sent for Mr. Phillips.
Is Mr. Garrett taking a plea too, Ms. Wills?
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor, Mr. Garrett was recommended for MHC.
Okay. Mr. Phillips will take your plea later on, once you've filled out the paperwork and send it back to Ms. Holly Bridgewater.
Yeah, it's already completed, Judge Law.
All right. And Mr. Garrett, Ms. Falk, you said you're recommending it for MHC? So,
Yes, Your Honor. We did communicate with the MHC team this morning. They asked us if he was eligible. He is in fact eligible. And so that is our recommendation. We would like to, if possible, have a $500 surety bond set and then have him reset to the MHC calendar, not the competency calendar, but MHC court, so that he can be addressed at that time to see if he would like to enter that program.
do you have a date for the next MHC calendar?
I do not. I believe it's next Thursday, but I was going to ask Ms. Bridgewater if we could check the calendar and see when our next date is.
May 4th?
Okay, let me see if Mr. Jordan is on the line. He will be able to get to it quicker than I can.
Okay. Ms. Wills, any objection to the 500 surety bond with the stay away?
No objection to the stay away. Given my client's financial position, I would request a signature bond. However, I understand the state's position.
Jail next Thursday.
Okay, I'm sorry, Holly, could you mute, please? Thank you.
Okay, excuse me, Judge. Mr. Jordan is right here. That next MH date is next Thursday, if you all would like that.
Okay.
And the state would make that request. The defendant, just to let the court know, has 8 cycles, 4 out of Georgia and 4 out of Wisconsin, including a 2010 burglary, possession of tools for the commission of crime.
Okay. Mr. Garrett's bond is going to be set at $500. It's a surety bond. He's to stay 200 yards away from the entire apartment or the entire location identified as 409 Andrew J. Hairston Place in Atlanta, which is also referred to as the West Side Future Funds. He's to have no contact with the owner of this property. The name wasn't provided. And his next court date is going to be May 4th, 2023. I think it's at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. for that calendar.
Good, Your Honor.
And after today, he's to stay away from Octavius Phillips. All right.
And
Yes.
Your Honor, the name of the property manager, excuse me, is Charles Ford, F-O-R-D.
Charles Ford. Okay, thank you. Yes, Mr. Garrett, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you.
Ma'am, I would like to know why that I can't accept the same plea with the 12 months due one day.
Well, you can talk to your attorney about that. I'm not refusing you anything. If you want to talk to your
Can I
attorney.
say something? May I say something, please? I have a job that I just started and I have a kid that I have to watch out for. I really do need to go home today.
Understood, but your criminal history record do not support a qualification for a signature bond. So would you like to talk to your attorney?
Yes, if I can go, I need to go home today. I just started my job. I cannot lose my job. If I lose my job, I lose everything.
Ms.
Please,
Wills, would you like to
please.
consult with Mr. Garrett?
Yes, I will.
You probably have to call the jail. Deputy Francois, you need to make that arrangement, please. All right, Mr. Octavius Phillips, Ms. McCall, is this with
Yes, Your Honor.
the assistance of counsel?
Oh, yes.
Is that with the assistance of counsel for the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. This is State versus Octavius Phillips, 23 CR 0025788H. Mr. Phillips was accused of criminal trespass from April 26, 2023. Mr. Phillips, you're represented by Ms. McLeod. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and this is going to be a plea hearing. Please raise your right hand. Unmute, please, Deputy Francois. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? Was that a yes or no?
Yes.
All right. Francois, do we have someone making an outburst in the jail courtroom?
We're fine now. For, I do have a quick announcement for courtroom 1. There's, we can do the breakout for Mr. Stinson, position 9. He's ready.
All right.
And
Mr. Jordan, if you could place courtroom 1 and Ms. Kim along with the closed captioning. Thank you. All right. Mr. Young, what is the state's recommendation for the plea?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation in this case is 12 months served, 1 day credit for time served with the balance suspended and to stay away from the incident location.
Ms. McLeod, do you?
Yes, that is our understanding of the terms of the plea, Your Honor.
And do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
We do, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Phillips, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood what's been going on in your case?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand that, I'm sorry, are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take this plea today?
No, ma'am.
Are you taking this plea offer just to get out of jail today?
No, ma'am.
And are you freely, willingly, and knowingly admitting that you violated and by trespassing at the property of Westside Future Funds?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand that you'll have to stay away from that location and stay away from Charles Ford?
Yes, ma'am.
Has it been explained to you as well that you have to give up your constitutional right to have this case before a court of law in which you could have a trial in front of a judge or a jury, that you would be able to confront your accuser, examine witnesses, challenge the evidence brought against you, and have the state carry its burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt? Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to 1 count of criminal trespass?
Guilty.
Well, I certainly don't want anyone prompting you to respond. How do you really feel about pleading to this case?
Guilty.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
The sentence is 12 months to serve 1 day, credits for time served 1 day, balance suspended. You'll be released within 24 hours. If you return to the Westside Future Funds location, which is located at 409 Andrew J. Hairston Place, or if you have any contact with Charles Ford, the state will have you arrested again, and this time there won't be a plea.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have a
Your
nice-
Honor, that concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, have a great week. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Same to you.
Next case, please, Ms. Deputy Francois.
Position 4, Martin.
This is State versus Anthony Martin, accused of criminal trespass at the Sorrel property, case number 23 CR 002575C. Mr. Martin, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Wills. Mr. Howard, yes, please.
Martin, 2014 possession of marijuana NOLO. 2014 probation, 2015 giving false name probation, another probation. 2022 theft by taking, obstruction, and shoplifting arrest, and a 2022 possession of drug-related objects conviction.
All right, and he has an open case 23 CR 000971C. Mrs. Falk, what's your recommendation, please?
And my apologies, Your Honor, I was talking to MHC. Which case is this?
Petition 4, Anthony Martin.
Thank you, Your Honor. So on Mr. Martin's case, the state's recommendation is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. Stay away from 2399 Parkland Drive Northeast, Unit 1020, which is the Sorrel Apartments. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. This was essentially a trespassing where he and a number of people were using this vacant apartment and staying inside it. There's actually been 2 other arrests that we've addressed in the last 2 days involving individuals staying inside of this apartment.
Okay. Ms. Wills, any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Bond is set at $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the solicitor. He's to stay 200 yards away from that entire complex, all the apartments, the entire apartment complex, 2399 Parkland Drive in Atlanta, also known as the Sorrel property. He's to have no contact with Keisha Murphy, the property manager, and Marco Jones, the maintenance manager. FYI, and Mr. Martin, you will be reporting to pretrial once a month. Your prior bond, you received a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. This time it's a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial. You have to report to pretrial once a month. And if you get arrested again for anything else, from now on, your signature bond will be converted to a $3,000 surety bond or cash bond. Do you understand, sir?
I do.
Your next court date will be sent to you at your current address within 30 days of being released on the signature bond. You are to come back to the courthouse and update us with a mailing address, your phone number, and email. Thank you. Next case, please.
Our next case is position 5, but that's for Ms. Kim, and she's doing her breakout. But I do have a quick announcement, Judge Law, for position 6, Mr. Pat, he waived his appearance.
Yes, there's a waiver of appearance by Ms. Kim as well, I believe.
And also for position 8, Mr. Spellman waived his appearance as well.
Okay. Is that your client, Ms. Wills? Position 8, Jerry Spellman?
Yes, that is my client.
Okay, so position number 8, 23 CR 002579C, Mr. State versus Jerry Spellman.
Your Honor, but I'm sorry, I did request a breakout room for Mr. Spellman.
All right. This is a waiver of appearance, right? Also?
Correct. Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Jordan, if you're available, could you put me, Ms. Falk, and Ms. Wills in a breakout along with Ms. Hawley?
And Mr. Young, Your Honor, this is his case.
Oh, okay. Mr. Young. Mr. Young.
Who did you need a breakout room with this? I had walked out.
Yeah.
Who did you need the room with?
All of us on video except courtroom 2. Whoever you see on video, except courtroom 2. All right, Ms. Wells, do you have any other clients on the calendar whom you've not addressed?
I would like I need to call and follow up with Mr. Garrett in regards and communicate the plea offer to him.
All right, go ahead. Do you have the jail number?
Yes. Ms. Falk, since we went into the breakout room, I lost the chat that you sent right before we went
I
to.
emailed you the paperwork with the plea recommendation as well as sent it to Sergeant Norris.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Wills, call the 22392 number. That's the phone he's sitting at. It's on. All right. No, it's not on. It's okay.
All right, we'll just be in recess until Ms. Kim. Mr. Jordan, can you please send a chat to?
Your Honor, I apologize, but we had a power failure here and
I see that.
yeah, so the phones didn't fully boot up. So tell Ms. Wills, if you can hear me, just give us a few minutes and I'll let you know when you can give a call.
Okay, I can hear you. Thank you.
All right.
All right, Ms. Kim, are we ready to proceed with your cases?
Oh, you're right. Can we do a breakout session then, Your Honor, with Ms. Wills in courtroom 2?
Yes, no, not with courtroom 2. We're ready to address Ms. Kim's cases. She's back.
Your Honor, we are not ready. I lost connection.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they lost connection.
Oh, okay. All right, I see. All right. Courtroom 2 can be in a, Ms. Kim is going back to her breakout. Ms. Wills? Ms. Wills?
Yes.
We're going to put you in a separate breakout with Mr. Garrett, okay?
Thank you.
And Mr. Jordan for Ms. Wills and courtroom 2, please. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be in a recess until one of our defense attorneys comes in, then we'll address those cases. Thank you.
Courtroom 1 never came back on.
What happened, Mr. Jordan?
The breakout room, courtroom 1, they still haven't come back on. So I don't know if their computer is still down. They were the ones that was in the breakout room with PD10.
Okay.
So I'm just waiting on them to log back.
And Ms. Kim, are you done with your consult in courtroom 3?
Which one, Your Honor?
Oh,
I have
Mr. Pinkston?
No, I was not able to finish. He was writing out the answers. That's how he communicates, and then he disappeared. His computer was lost.
Stinson, okay.
Yes.
Is he hearing impaired?
Yes. But he can write and read. So, and then he sends me signs, and I only know very few things like this, and I don't understand anything else.
Universal signs, the good ones.
Also, Your Honor, the paperwork that was sent from the jail is all blank. I don't know if it's due to the power outage or what, but I have nothing. They need to resend it so you can look over it and sign it. So when they come back on, we need to make that announcement.
Okay. Let's hope courtroom 1 pops back up again, okay? So we'll be in recess until they show up. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Courtroom 2, are you ready to go into a breakout with Ms. Wills?
Your Honor, we already went to breakout, but I can't print out the plea paperwork form because we still have no power.
Ah, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to put you in a breakout with the attorney, Callie Wills, okay?
Again?
So Ms. Wills, I put you in a breakout, but there's no way to move forward with the plea unless I can get the paperwork in.
I can walk him through it, but I can't represent him for the purpose of his plea.
Can't have it both ways.
Okay, yeah, I'm not authorized to.
Then you need the breakout.
Okay.
All right.
And it's Kaylee, Your Honor.
Oh, sorry, Kaylee. Mr. Jordan, please place courtroom 2 and Kaylee Wills in a breakout, please.
Thank you.
Your Honor, the power just came back on. Just wait for everything to boot back up properly so I can print out the paperwork form.
All right, Ms. Wills, do you still want to speak to Mr. Garrett?
I've spoken with him and he did confirm that he is interested in that offer. So that's been communicated to him. And so that's all that's left is for him to complete the paperwork.
All right.
And it will be a pro se plea.
Okay, Mr. Young or Ms. Falk, if you want to email the documents to the courtroom 2 for Mr. Garrett to review.
I already have, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Norris has those documents.
Okay. Ms. Wills, do you represent 5, 6, 8, or 9?
Five, no, 6.
Oh, we already addressed 8, so sorry.
No, those are all Miss Kim's cases.
All right, thank you. All right, Miss Kim, are we ready to proceed with 5, 6, and 9?
I can do 5, Your Honor.
Okay, let's address position 5, State
Yes.
versus Roger Mitchell.
Yes. And 6, Your Honor. I can do both.
Okay, as soon as courtroom 1 pops back up again. I hope it's not another power draw.
I think they just lost power again, so they went off the screen.
I've been in the courtroom all day. Is there a storm raging outside or something like that? Does anyone know? Okay.
It's raining, Your Honor, but it's not storming.
All right. While we're waiting, if I can just go over the calendar, because I sure hate to have empty airtime. So position number 1 is Vanessa Diaz Garcia. That's a $3,500 surety bond. Reset dates May 11. Position 2, Garrett, is a possible plea. Position 3, Hewitt, is a 4,000 surety bond. Reset May 11. Position 4 is a 3,000 signature bond through pretrial per ASG and further notice. Position 5 is going to be addressed. Position 6 is going to be addressed. Position 7 Phillips was a plea. Position 8, Spellman's a $1,500 surety bond, reset date May 11 to the 11 a.m. Competency calendar. Position 9, Stinson is to be addressed. Position 10, Saluki is a 3,000 signature bond through pretrial. Further notice. And position 11 is a $2,000 surety bond, reset date May 11 at 9 a.m. All right, so we'll come back. I'll just call a recess until courtroom 1 appears. Wells, you are free to go if you want to. I don't think you have any other cases. And I don't know about 5, 6, and 9.
Your Honor, actually number 6, it is plea deal. So I mean, not the plea, waiver of appearance that was filed. So
okay.
We can do that one, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, position number 6 is State versus Kenneth Pack, 23 CR 002577C. Mr. Pack is accused of simple assault, PI, and 2 counts of criminal trespass from April 25th, 2023. Ms. Kim is representing Mr. Pack, and she's filed a waiver of his appearance. Mr. Howard, do you have an, well, don't worry about his priors. Ms. Kim, I've just already reviewed his 2 open cases and his prior case from 21 CR 001041C. Would you like the citations for his 2 other open cases?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. And this is a model situation from which I understand he has a permanent ban from all model property. So, Mr. Young, what's your recommendation for the 4 charges?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's bond recommendation in this case is a $7,500 surety. The breakdown is $2,000 for the simple assault, $5,000 for the public indecency, and $250 per criminal trespass to stay away from the incident location as he is already permanently banned. And there was a mental health evaluation and treatment.
Okay. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, Mr. Pack is 31 years old and he is homeless. And he went to competence calendar on 11 a.m., April 13, 2023, because we recommended for that. And he was competent. He's able to move forward. He's not recommended for mental health evaluation, actually. When my social worker services got an email from me about him.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're muted, Ms. Kim. Ms. Kim, unmute, please.
Oh, I apologize.
No
So even our social worker services who met him in person has not recommended the MHET at this point because he is competent, actually.
All
so
right.
Our recommendation is still signature on bond for criminal trespass. And if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond because of many open cases, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 public indecency surety bond. Thank you.
Thank you. The simple assault's $1,000. The PI charge is $1,500. And the trespass is going to be $500 each. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. That's a $3,500 surety bond to stay away from all model property. Next court date is May 11.
Thank you.
So it looks like courtroom 1 is back. I can put
All
them
right.
back in the room.
We have courtroom 1, or maybe, all right, and this is Miss position number 9. And Mr. Jordan, do we have the closed captioning on?
I'm not sure if it works in the breakout room, Judge. It works on the main screen. It is.
Yeah, we were able to do it, so I would like to continue the interview. We are almost done. I just have to read what he wrote.
So Mr. Jordan, Miss Kim, and courtroom 1 need to be back in the breakout. Then we'll come back and address positions 2, 5, and 9. We'll be in recess until Ms. Kim reappears. Thank you.
Judge Law, courtroom 2 is back.
Okay. Deputy Norris, has Mr. Garrett received the paperwork for this plea?
We just got the power back, so we're still trying to see if we can print it out.
Okay, just let me know when you're ready. We have 3 positions to address. Mr. Garrett, Ms. Mitchell, and then Mr. Stinson, as soon as Ms. Kim appears, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, for right now, you can have a secretary.
Okay.
Wait on your paperwork.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you.
Hey.
Mr. Jordan, could you please ask Ms. Kim that we need to proceed in the breakout room? Thank you. All right, Ms. Kim, we're going to address position 5 first. Ms. J. Mitchell, who is a case number 23 CR 002-576C, accused of theft of services from April 26, 2023. Ms. Mitchell, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Mr. Howard, any priors on Ms. Mitchell?
13 total. 2023 FTA dismissed. 2023 trespass conviction. 2023 trespass nolo. 2022 obstruction, trespass conviction, and a 2010 shoplifting conviction.
Thank you. Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. So in this case, Ms. Mitchell received services, a manicure, pedicure, eyebrow maintenance at Posh Nail Spa for $145, didn't pay, tried to call a friend in order to pay for the services, but that attempt failed. And when she was told that if she didn't pay the bill, that she had to go to jail, she said she didn't care if she went to jail. I know that the defendant has 3 prior criminal trespass convictions this year. And the state's recommendation is going to be a $500 surety bond, stay away from 2900 Peachtree Road, Atlanta, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We would also ask that she stay away from Miss Nguyen, Nguyen, who was the employee who interacted with her that day. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Miss Mitchell is 36 years old. She's from Kansas. She has been here in Georgia 1 year and 5 months. She is gainfully employed part-time only at Seventh-day Adventist Church as a cleaner. She cleans and volunteers to help out children and elderly. However, last 1.5 months, her income has not been that great. So she's qualified for public defender's services. So even after today, we will continuously represent her. She is hoping to get the modeling agency to come and pick her up and pay for that bills. She believes that that agency will take care of the bill and get her out of the jail. And she graduated from high school and she wants to get cosmetologist license. We would like to request for a signature on bond for this case, Your Honor. Thank you.
Bond set $1,000 is a surety bond to stay away from Posh Nail Spa at 2900 Peachtree Road. And her next court date's May 11th.
Thank you.
Maybe go to courtroom 1, please. All right. This is State versus Mr. Brendan Stinson. Can we unmute courtroom 1, please? I want to, or at least Mr. Stinson, if you can read the closed captioning on the screen, could you please nod your head or give me a thumbs up? Officer in courtroom 1, do you see the,
I can.
okay. Mr. Stinson, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to communicate, your statements can and will be used against you. If you understand, please give me a thumbs up or nod your head. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Ms. Kim. You are charged with simple assault, 2 counts of simple assault, and 1 count of public indecency. Your attorney, Mr. Howard, does he have any priors? Mr. Tucson, Howard?
Oh, I was just talking, my bad. I thought I had unmuted. Third arrest, 2014 simple battery dismissed. 2014 simple battery DV dismissed.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Young, what is your recommendation?
Your Honor, the state's recommendation is a $7,000 surety bond. That's $1,000 for each simple assault and $5,000 for the public indecency. And stay away from MARTA. On April 26th, law enforcement at this location were notified by a female patron.
Oh, I've read the warrant already, so I'm familiar with the allegations. Do you know, well, I have nothing else to add. Ms. Kim, what's your recommendation?
We would like to recommend for signature on bond or maximum $1,000 good bond. My client has been, he's 27 years old. He has been hearing impaired for about 24 years. He didn't understand, I guess he couldn't understand. He has been here in Georgia for about 5 months. He's residentially challenged as of now. His mother resides at Cumming, Georgia, so we have been trying to contact his mother. We have not made any contact yet. I left a message. And last week, he had an interview at Jaxby restaurant as a cook, and he hoped to get a job. So that way he can find a place and move forward with his life. He graduated from high school. That's all we have right now. Thanks.
All right. Does he communicate by sign language as well?
That I do not know, Your Honor. He was writing down things for me. And
Yes.
officer.
He does use sign language?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. On each count of simple assault, the bond is going to be 500. On the PI charge, it's going to be 1,000. It's a $2,000 surety bond to stay away from all MARTA property. And next court date is May 11th. No illegal drugs and no weapons. Next court date's May 11th. Thank you.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Debbie, are you able to write down the information? Does he have any questions to ask of his attorney? Okay, saw another thumbs up, so that concludes courtroom 1. Courtroom 2, are we ready with Mr. Garrett's case?
Yes, we're ready.
This is State versus Laville Lafayette Garrett, 23 CR 002573B. Mr. Garrett is accused of criminal trespass from April 26, 2023. Mr. Garrett, you've been advised of your right to remain silent in accordance with the Fulton County Public Defender's Office, where a client decides to take a plea at a initial appearance calendar. The Public Defender's Office has refused to represent indigent defendants. So therefore, are you prepared to waive your right to counsel and represent yourself?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Yes.
And do you understand that if you make any legal decision that you are responsible of how it impacts your personal situation and how it impacts any other, like your job or your residency, if applicable?
Yes, ma'am.
For purposes of this plea, may I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Ms. Falk, what's the plea recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's plea recommendation on this case is 12 months probation, 1 day jail, credit for time served, stay away from 409 Andre J. Hairston, and report to MHC on Friday, May 5th at 9:30 a.m., courtroom 2C. And that is on the that is on the Senate's recommendation as well.
What would the purpose of reporting to MH court?
He is still eligible. I have spoken to Ms. Corley from MHC, and she stated that because he is on probation, he is still eligible for MHC if he would like to participate in that. We are not requiring him to sign up for it, but we are asking him to report to court so he can meet with the MHC staff, a public defender, and the solicitor's office.
So you're requiring him to at least make that one-time appearance?
Correct. Again, he does not have to actually enroll, but he does have to report and meet with them.
All right. Mr. Garrett, if you decide to accept this sentence in which you are given credit for 1 day, and then you won't have to be on probation, but you have to report to the MHC court next week, May 5th. At what time was it?
It was 9:30 a.m., Your Honor, and he is on probation. This is not a balance suspended sentence.
Oh, okay, you need to report on your probation matter to MHC court next week on May 5th. Is that something that you've accepted?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you agree that the allegations set forth, the factual allegations that you allegedly trespassed at the property of 409 Andrew J. Heston Place are true and correct?
Yes.
And do you agree that you are the defendant in that case?
Yes, ma'am.
And that this allegedly occurred in Fulton County, Georgia?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you, have you consumed any medication or alcohol since then?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood everything so far?
Yes, I have.
Are you entering a plea freely, willingly, and knowingly?
I am.
And are you prepared to give up your constitutional right to a trial, to confront your accuser, challenge the state's evidence, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes, I am.
How do you plead to 1 count of criminal trespass?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 1 day, credit for 1 day, balance suspended, and you will need to report to the MHC next week on May 5th at 9:30 a.m. in accordance with your probation requirements. You need to be at the court and meet with the courthouse, with the MHC staff, although you're not required to sign up. That will be a decision you make after you have a conference with the MHC staff. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
And Your Honor, just to perfect the record, you did say balance suspended. The balance is not suspended. He will be on probation.
Oh, he'll be on probation?
That is correct, Your Honor.
So sorry, for 12 months?
That is correct.
Oh, okay. So there you go. I do apologize. I wrote down balance suspended. It's actually balance probation. So Mr. Garrett, you'll be reporting to probation. So
Yes,
make sure you show up for MHC. And does he have to report at 132 Mitchell Street? Ms. Paul?
I believe so. Let me reach out to Mr. Jordan. I know I see him on the Zoom to see where he would need to report.
That's the address for probation. But my question was gonna be, if he's accepted into mental health court, is he doing his probation in mental health court? If he's not accepted in mental health court, then he should be reporting to probation.
That is correct. So I did speak with Ms. Corley, and he will obviously have that opportunity to speak with them next Friday. She advised me against setting it for this Friday because apparently there's some difficulties when they have people released on Thursday, getting there in time.
All right. Mr. Garrett, looks like they want to keep you on probation. Now you either do it through mental health court or you do it through regular probation. So on May 5th, when you report to mental health court, if you don't want to sign up for their services, then on that same day, you must report to probation at 132 Mitchell Street before 3 p.m. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
All right. And you will continue to report to probation for 12 months.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're completed here in courtroom 2, Judge.
Thank you, Francois.
All right,
Ms.
you're welcome.
Foster, do you need me to go over the last 3 cases? Are we good?
We're good.
All right.
Oh, Judge Law, just to be sure, just to confirm, for position 5, Ms. Mitchell, she had $1,000 good bond, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, everyone, y'all have a great Thursday. I will see you, I guess, sometime this week or next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.